They say, Genghis Khan conquered the world, not just with swords and horses, but with fear. Behind the thunder of hooves and the smoke of burning cities lay something far darker. Places that never appeared on any map. The hidden torture chambers of the Mongol Empire. In those silent pits beneath the steppe, the screams of the condemned never reached the surface, and those who entered were rarely seen again. An empire built on fear. In the 13th century, the Mongols under Genghis Khan became the greatest military storm the world had ever known. Their speed, precision, and ruthlessness shattered empires from China to Persia. But conquest was only part of Khan's genius. He understood something few rulers ever did, that terror itself could be a weapon. Within his vast empire, it was whispered that secret chambers existed, underground cells where traitors, spies, and enemies of the law were brought for justice. These weren't random acts of cruelty, but part of a deliberate system to enforce the yasa, the iron law of the Mongols. Chroniclers from Persia wrote, "No one remained loyal like the man who had watched a traitor die beneath the ground." The darkness below, deep beneath a fortress on the edge of the Gobi Desert. Prisoners were blindfolded and led down narrow stairs, their footsteps echoing like their final prayers. There was no light, only the stench of burnt fat, sweat, and iron. The walls were lined with strange tools, iron hooks, clamps, tongs, and rods glowing from the fire. But the most terrifying sight of all were the massive felt rugs stacked in the corner. To the Mongols, these rugs were not for warmth, they were instruments of death. Under the yasa, the blood of nobles was sacred. It could not be spilled, so instead of beheading them, the Mongols would wrap them tightly in felt and crush them beneath horses until their bones turned to dust. It was said that when a Tangut governor betrayed the Khan, he was executed this way, without blood, without mercy, without a word. The art of pain. Not all prisoners were killed. Some were kept alive, their suffering measured in patience and silence. The Mongols believed that true loyalty could only be proven through endurance. Prisoners were forced to kneel on burning sand while boiling oil dripped onto their shoulders. Others were hung upside down, their mouths stuffed with horsehide to muffle their screams. As they listened to the sound of galloping hooves outside, a cruel reminder of the freedom they would never taste again. Rumors spoke of a place near Samarkand called the Chamber of Wind. Inside, dried human skins hung from hooks, and when the desert wind blew through the cracks, the air itself began to scream. Merchants who passed that region at night claimed the wind still sounded like crying souls begging for release. The purpose of terror, for Genghis Khan, cruelty was not madness, it was strategy. Every act of horror was carefully designed to spread dread faster than any messenger could ride. Before attacking a city, his spies would spread stories. The Khan crushes traitors beneath rugs. And soon, terror did what armies could not. Entire cities surrendered without a fight. The Mongols mastered psychological warfare centuries before the term existed. They didn't have to torture everyone. They only needed people to believe that they might. Fear became their sharpest sword, and rumor became their shield. The silence after the storm, centuries passed. The Mongol Empire crumbled, and its cities turned to dust. Yet across Central Asia, explorers still find sealed underground chambers, walls scorched black, iron rings rusted into the stone, and strange stains that refuse to fade. No one can say if these were truly the torture rooms of Genghis Khan, or just the shadows of legend. But nomads still whisper that on certain nights, when the desert wind moans through the valleys, you can still hear the echoes of those who died below. Epilogue. Whether fact or myth, the stories of the Mongol torture chambers remind us of a deeper truth, that Genghis Khan ruled not just through conquest, but through the imagination of fear. He didn't have to torture everyone. He only had to make the world believe he would. And that belief alone bent empires to his will. Today, when the wind sweeps across the steppes of Mongolia, carrying the dust of forgotten battles, some say it still carries faint cries, the whispers of the conquered, and the ghosts of those who vanished beneath the empire that once ruled half the world. Because sometimes the most terrifying places in history were never meant to be found.